Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues. With this particular video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on Beware the Batman, episode number 6, entitled Toxic. Let me get it out of the way right away and say that I had a lot more trouble finding this episode online than the last several that I've been doing videos on, and I believe that is probably because Warner Brothers is clamping down on anyone who uploads this sucker. I've noticed that they've actually taken to uploading the latest episode, Toxic, on their own channel on YouTube. Of course, it is not for mobile viewing, however, so unless I can continue to find it on YouTube, this may be one of my last such Beware the Batman coverage videos. Time will have to tell. Essentially, with this particular episode, I felt like it broke that hit and miss vibe I was describing in my last episode review because it wasn't stellar, but it wasn't that bad either. I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. It had a kind of Frankenstein-esque vibe to it in the fact that we're dealing with Metamorpho. This is a character I am familiar with, but I don't know the history of. I don't know the ins and outs and details of, apart from his alter ego name, Rex Mason, and the look of the character and the kind of, powers to a certain extent. I really don't know much about the character, so going into this story was kind of an origin for that character. We have the return of Simon Stagg, who hasn't been seen since the pilot episode Hunted, and this cat has some dirty dealings that lead the boyfriend of his daughter, Sapphire, which is Rex Mason, who is working as a security guard for Stagg's company, to be gassed, and with this Metamorpho, sort of project or whatever you want to call it. And the result is he becomes Metamorpho. I believe this character, both dual identities of Rex Mason and Metamorpho, were voiced by Adam Baldwin, Jane himself from Firefly. At least if my ears do not deceive me. I haven't checked the credits, but I believe that's the voice I was hearing. And I really felt sympathetic for the character in a very Frankenstein-esque kind of way, where he is forced to become a monster. It kind of has a Hulk vibe to it as well, where you're feeling for this cat who just can't have a normal life anymore because he's become something unwittingly, against all odds, that interferes with that, a monster, essentially. And so, of course, the first instincts he has when he's made his transformation is rage. We actually get to see some pedestrians in this episode as he's tearing up the street and everything. Batman is on the case. There's a little bit of a B story going on where he and the psychologist or psychiatrist lady from a couple episodes back when Magpie was doing her thing, I think her name is Ravenclaw, wants to date him or go to an event or whatever it is, and he has to shirk his duties in that regard, but then he picks up later on with her at the end of the episode, and it looks like she has some fairly ominous doings as well, so I don't know what that's about. But as far as how the whole Metamorpho thing plays out, essentially Batman knows who was behind this. He tries to bring this person to justice. In the meantime, he's also trying to transform Rex Mason back into his sort of, just plain human guise, if you will, trying to find a cure for him, and unfortunately we find out that it's not going to work, and Sapphire Stagg is very sort of hung up on the fact that he, no longer looks human and is more monster looking and stuff, and she can't deal with that, so not so much, redemption on that character's edge. And Batman leaves everything with, Stagg is probably going to go and get incarcerated. Justice is going to have its way with him, put it that way. And I was largely impressed with the episode overall. I didn't feel like it was a stellar episode, as I say, but it was enjoyable. And I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of it if you've seen it. Otherwise, we'll see what happens with the future episodes to come, whether I can cover them or not. And, yeah, that'll be it for me on this. I hope you're all doing well, and I'll catch you later. Peace.